you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what your motivation was to start. And you either need to realize and say to yourself, I need to change my motivation because this isn't good enough. This obviously it's not strong enough to have kept me going. Or like, I mean, that is the number one thing you have to do. You have to find your motivation to be strong enough to get you through the first early parts.
Thank you. There we go. Hey, yo. Yeah, man, something different. You don't need to look at that one. Yes, my peoples, welcome back to another Speak Your Source video. It's your boy Bongs, and I've got a lovely little guest here. Who are you, mate?
Your boy Scotty Seawood,
Yes,
the one and only, the great, the best, the GOAT.
Yeah, man. Welcome to Speak Your Source, mate. Look, he doesn't even want to talk. So yeah, let me set the scene. So I called up Scott over here because obviously, as you guys know, we're doing the Habit series, making 2022 your year. The last video we touched upon was habits, the basics of habits. And then this week, or today's video, we're talking about consistency. So obviously I've called in my friend over here because I think, you know, in my life, if you will, he's probably the living manifestation of consistency. I
have to live up to this expectation that you set now. So I'm here now.
Yeah, man. Well, welcome to the show, and glad to have you, mate.
Lovely to be here. Lovely to be here, man.
So if we want to set the scene, I like to put people on the spot. If I could ask you, what would you say the definition of consistency is in your eyes?
The definition of consistency,
or what it means to you?
Yeah, consistency is, for me, best way to describe it would be, it's to do something day in, day out, or it doesn't have to necessarily be in day. It's to do something in whatever time frame that you've set it as. So if it's a weekly, bi-weekly, daily, hourly thing, that time frame that you've set for yourself, it's to make sure that you get that one specific thing done. And like the most important thing here is that you get it done on the day or hour you least want to get it done.
Okay.
That's like consistency for me is like,
so it's almost like doing things. So first of all, setting yourself a time frame to get something done.
Yeah.
And then most importantly is understanding that there'll be times when you don't want to do it, but the times you don't want to do it are the times when you need to do it.
You need to do it the
and
most.
when you get it done the most is when consistency kind of takes place.
That's what consistency
That's
is.
where consistency is then manifested into
I
real
think
life.
If you, for example, let me put it this way, I don't think you can be consistent in doing something if there is not a day where you wouldn't like to do it. For example, breathing. No one is like, I don't see breathing as you're being consistent.
Okay, now I fuck with that because it's natural. It happens unconsciously.
There's no day where you're just like, oh, do you know what, today I don't want to breathe.
Yeah, okay.
Like, if you can, to me, you can only be consistent in something where there will be a day where you, for whatever reason, don't want to do it.
Fucking hell, I like that. That's a nice little sound. Yeah, you'll go clip that one. You know what I mean? So I think the reason why I kind of called you in here today is because I think your journey in regards to regarding the gym, of like a little before and after, Shay clip it here, of how he used to look and how he looks now, it's pretty crazy. So I just want to, if you could just give us a quick context of what that journey was and what made you, like, why did you go on that journey, if that makes sense?
So, okay, I'll take you through the journey. I'd say I've been going. Okay, well, I'll start at the start. The person who actually got me into the gym is the man sitting opposite this table. Oddly enough, I remember it was the first session was like, it was exercise for less or something.
Yeah.
Or it might have been pure gym. I don't know. One of the two.
No, it's pure gym. It's pure
You
gym.
took me. It was like one of the summers in between uni. Or no, it was the
first, like the
I thought it was year 13.
Yeah,
to
the
first-
pre-uni
before
summer.
uni. Took me on a session, ran it up, did our first couple. You know how we were like 17, 18,
Yeah, just
something like that. Just
some
bozos
dumb-
in the gym. Yeah. He had very different goals then. He was obviously balling, blah blah. But for a new gym goer, there's no such thing as like training for different. You're training.
You just want to go and do some exercises.
So that's how it started. And honest to God, the first reason I never had any intentions of becoming bigger or even becoming fitter. I literally went because Sia asked me to. And the reason I kept going was because Sia, let's just say I wouldn't say he looked down on. It's not looking down, but it's in a sense, it's like you were. I don't know how to describe it. You were looking like
it was patronizing.
Yeah. Like that's what it was. It's like
raw. Like you can't lift.
Exactly. It was like that.
I can lift and you can't. Yeah.
Bro, when I tell you my head was spinning. I was spinning for at least like the next 2-3 months. But that's what it took for me to and that 2-3 months, the transition from I can't wait to go to the gym with C again and show him how much progress I made to I'm actually enjoying the gym.
Okay.
Because of I love the journey itself, the feeling of gym, you get all the other benefits, it's a stress relief.
Okay.
I was basically subconsciously benefiting from all the other things that gym has to offer.
Okay.
Whilst in that 2 months of I'm gonna
you have this one goal. So while you were trying to get back out of spite, if you will,
Exactly.
say I'm ready to get him underneath everything, you were getting all these benefits that you weren't aware of. And then once that one goal wore off, then it's like, oh shit, wait. So I've been gaining all of this weight, positive mindset as well, and my body's getting bigger, and I'm feeling good mentally. My goodness me. So what then I have to ask is, what kept you going in those 2 to 3 months? Obviously you're saying, I can't wait to show Sia, but let's say that night where you didn't want to go gym, what made you still want to go, if that makes sense?
But I feel like I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think I was consistent in that 2 months.
Okay.
Consistency didn't kick in until 4 months in.
Okay.
I was going gym, and then again there was days where because I feel like it starts off with motivation.
Okay.
And then motivation has to turn into consistency.
Cool.
My motivation was you and proving you wrong.
Cool.
I know it was childish. It was just childish, and that's why my gym journey was not a childish start, but it was it's not the normal start, right? I didn't have a specific goal, but I had the motivation, which is why I wasn't consistent, because motivation is not consistency. So I was going twice a week
to here and there,
and then sometimes I wasn't doing anything special. But then that was, as a beginner, twice a week is actually more than enough for you to see results and benefits.
Clean.
So it's I still got all the results whilst not needing to be consistent. But then because I was I like these benefits, let me get some more of that. How do I get more of that? I have to be consistent. And by consistent, I have to now go on the days I don't want to go. And that's when it
they went from 2 to...
It did upwards spiral. It was just that's when I started getting locked in. I was, I don't want to go today. It's a lot, but now you have to go, because it only takes one day to, for me, it takes one day to break the cycle.
To set you off that track.
You off, exactly. It's and that goes with everything. That goes with from gym to masturbating
to
investing. It takes one day to break the cycle, and it's is it worth losing everything I've built for one day? Obviously, one day is extreme. There's obviously time limits. You can give or take, but the key thing is that you keep going. You do not take a gap big enough to be moving backwards, if that makes sense.
Okay. I've got a question for you. So you said that how you said, when you're having that conversation with yourself, am I willing to lose everything that I've built just to have this one day off? But what if it's in the early days? If it's month 2, what if you haven't built much? What if you've only got 3 bricks? You've only saved £300. You've only done 3 weeks consistently, you've only done 5 weeks consistently. How do you have that conversation? Because I would believe that, you know, once you're a year in or like 6 months in, it's quite easy to say, okay, look at what I've built so far. Look at this 5 months that I haven't busted a nut X, Y, and Z. I don't want to ruin it. But what happens in the early days? Like
that's why I said. So the early days
is where you have
to
motivation.
have the motivation. If you don't, I feel like early, like motivation will carry you for a good amount of time, 2 months, 3 months. If you find yourself not going in a new venture that you started, like everyone's done this, where, you know, you started something new because of some sort of motivation, and then you stopped.
Yep.
The only reason is because your motivation in the start was not a good enough reason, if that makes sense. So it's like, if I had to really put it in black and white, and since gym is the topic here, if you have somehow missed a day or missed your time frame, I'm not going to say day anymore because everyone's
it's
time
relative.
frame is different.
Yeah.
If you've missed your relative time that you set, then you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what your motivation was to start. And you either need to realize and say to yourself, I need to change my motivation because this isn't good enough. This obviously it's not strong enough to have kept me going. Or like, I mean, that is the number one thing you have to do. You have to find your motivation to be strong enough to get you through the first early parts. And then once the motivation starts wearing off, because every motivation is not enough, that's when you have to move into your consistency, and one key word as well, your discipline.
Oh, I've even got it here. Yeah. So like I had this kind of notion of thinking that obviously when people start out, they think that, you know, they need motivation, which gives them inspiration, which would then make them go into action to do stuff, right? But then I feel like if you just do something, it will inspire you, which gives you the motivation and then action, and then you can kind of rinse and repeat, and then you kind of transition into the setup of basically action times discipline will give you consistency. So if you do stuff and you're disciplined about it, then you'll be consistent.
Yeah, that's actually very good.
You see what I'm saying?
Equation. Like,
yeah.
So what was it? You said discipline.
So it's like action times discipline equals consistency.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think discipline is something. Discipline is a difficult one because I feel like some people, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. Some people think that discipline is like naturally you're born with it.
Okay.
And some people think that it's like you can be taught it. I'm a bit torn at the moment. I actually wouldn't know the answer to it. I think I am leaning more towards you have to be born with discipline.
Okay. So then define, let's just start. What would you say like discipline is? Define it or give an example.
Discipline is the ability to, obviously, like, yeah, discipline and consistency does go hand in hand. But I think with discipline, it's the ability to keep going without seeing results.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that's how I would define discipline.
It's almost like it's a delayed feedback.
Yeah. And like, if you can keep telling yourself that, you know, what you're doing is going to yield results in the future, I think that's discipline. Whereas other people would do abs one day
and then don't have a six pack.
Don't have a six pack. Blah blah.
Done.
I saw a really cool video that described this. And it was about how they used brushing teeth as an analogy, and it was about how if you're brushing your teeth, you know, once every day, you're not gonna, you know, you don't actually see any results because it's like it's just you're like maintaining.
Okay, you're just keeping.
You're upkeeping, or you're improving as well, right?
Or on the flip side, then, of if you miss a day of brushing your teeth, nothing goes wrong.
Nothing goes wrong.
You miss 2 days, you miss 3 days.
Exactly. But it's like, it's that discipline to be able to that keep going, because brushing your teeth is a really good example, because it's like, if you're physically looking at it, you're thinking, what is actually happening
what's
here?
going on? Because they just look the same
like,
as...
why don't I just stop brushing my teeth?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
Brush your teeth, kids.
I swear to God, we're gonna have problems. But yeah, like, it's a really good example. It's like, it's the exact same in the gym. It's like, what is, like, you don't actually know what's happening. It's like watching grass grow in a sense. But the longer you like water the grass, the longer you go to the gym, you will be different, and you will see results at X amount of time.
Eventually.
And I think that's what discipline is to me. It's like, yeah, the ability to realize that your work is yielding like results that have been offset.
Yeah, I hear that. So what's your relationship with the gym now like? Do you feel like you have to still be consistent? Do you still have to be disciplined? Do you have any struggles in that regards?
I would say, so I love the gym for multiple reasons. I think physical appearance, health, stress relief, cool. I would say my relationship with the gym is very, very good at the moment. I think I am being consistent, and I think I am being very disciplined. But I've like, and that's just in terms of going to the gym, but there's other aspects that I would say I'm not consistent in and disciplined in, which is like, for example, your diet or something, or your eating habits, right?
Okay.
And that's like a good example of like, I have not set myself a time frame. I haven't actually set myself a plan yet.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't have a motivation.
For you to require to
exactly
get a good diet. You haven't set yourself like, okay, I want 6-pack abs. For me to get 6-pack abs, I need to be on a diet. So therefore I'll go on a diet by summer because I want to look good.
Exactly.
But you haven't set yourself.
I haven't set that, and I haven't set that because I haven't got any motivation to. But if I were to start, if I were to break it down, if I wanted a 6-pack, the plan would be get my motivation for whatever reason why I want a 6-pack. Start by, actioning, like you said. Start by disciplining it after the motivation wears off. And that then transforms into consistency. And then that transforms into 6-pack. Basically.
That's the equation.
And that's how it is. But, and I think the hardest part for the average person in all of that, I think, would be the discipline part, because consistency derives off of discipline, and motivation is easier to find. Motivation is easier to find than discipline. So I think if you can hack the discipline, if you can finally work that part out in yourself, I think that's the biggest key. That's the biggest turnover you can make to start your journey.
So let me ask you this: do you have any tips or recommendations on how that hacking process would look like for somebody that's disciplined? Because I feel like I had that similar issue over the past 2 years, 3 years of being disciplined, but I didn't have a way to break it down. Obviously, I do now, but I want to hear like your take on how you would recommend people on hacking discipline or how to attain it.
So that's why. Okay, so to answer this question, I actually did. That's why I said the first part about, because it's a hard question to answer. That's why I mentioned earlier about, is that something you're born with, or is it something you're like
exposed to or taught? I mean, if I want to add more context to your theory, then because I feel like I was born with the capacity to be obedient, right? So if somebody's telling me, see, you need to do this every single day, be it my coach, my mom, my teacher, I will get it done. But if it's for me to do it to myself, I won't get it done, right? And obviously that's something I struggled with, being consistent at the gym, over 2 years. Like, when I was at uni, we'd link up, we'd go gym, whatever. I'd be like, yeah, I'm about to get on it. And then we'd see each other like 3-4 months later, no progress, right? Whereas I believe that in the last 6 months, there's been more of that consistency, more of that discipline, right? And I feel like for myself, that discipline came from, like, let's say an innate desire to achieve the goal. So an innate desire to become big, if that makes sense. So my desire to be bigger, to go to the gym every day, was more important to me than sitting at home and not going to the gym. You see what I mean?
So that's your motivation, is what you're saying.
I would say it's my motivation, but yes, it's my motivation. So I had that as my motivation, but then I also broke it down. Okay, so how do I be disciplined? So I made it easy for me. So I became organized. So I scheduled in a specific time for me to go to the gym every single day. And then I started to think ahead. Okay, so on a Thursday and Friday, when I don't have work, I'm likely to sleep at home a little bit longer. So what am I going to do to be able to go and deal with the lack of discipline, if that makes sense? So
the question you're basically asking me is, or what you're saying is, right, okay, I understand your theory, but here I am sitting, like, and I'm telling you that I am a person who didn't have discipline, and then I learned discipline.
Correct.
So how is that possible?
Yeah.
Basically what you're asking me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that what you're asking me?
It's not necessarily that I'm asking you, but I'm saying it is possible for, because yeah, exactly.
I would say that, so you said, right, you're obedient. Like you have the ability to be obedient to like something that, okay. But I would say, is that not just still, I feel like that's no different to still being disciplined.
That's what I'm okay.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you were born with it. I don't think people can be obedient without having
You mean
discipline.
you can't be disciplined without being obedient?
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, so what you were trying to say is like you've learned it, but I don't think you learned it, because I don't think you can be obedient without having discipline. Like, okay, fine, your coach is telling you to go train 5 times a week so that you can be a pro baller. This, like, nobody else is telling you to get out. Like, even if he told you to get out of that bed,
but he's not going to be standing over me.
He got you out of your bed. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
Whereas I'm sure you had colleagues that didn't get out of bed. And those were the not disciplined ones.
True.
So I feel like that's why I said, like, I feel like I'm leaning more towards
you either got it or you don't.
You either got it or you don't. I know it's not a lot of times what people want to hear, and I'm not saying I'm right anyway. It's just from the life I've lived and the experiences I've made. I've leaned more towards that you are born with it, because there is a lack of discipline in this world. And I think if I take it even deeper, and I think that's why capitalism exists. I'm not joking.
Yeah, because
that's why
there's only a select couple people.
Only the select people who have that built into them can thrive. Like, that's why I think, I'm not calling up working class people. I'm a working class man. Like, what I'm saying is, discipline doesn't necessarily get you to the top. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that have discipline who aren't right at the top yet, but the ones at the bottom, I can most definitely say, are people that were born without any form of being able to discipline themselves. So if I take that back down to the gym or like wherever, like that was just the big picture speaking. And that's what I'm saying. That's why, January 1st, New Year, everyone has the motivation.
Everybody's got
time for the action. Now the motivation wore off.
February 1st.
The people who stayed are the people who are born with the ability to have discipline. The people who left are the people that don't. And there's no way, like, you can't change the heart. You can't change the discipline in somebody. I can't say that for certain, but I have tried.
Okay.
And yeah, like, I'm coming to the conclusion that you are needing to be born with discipline.
Damn.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. Answers it beautifully. Thank you so much, mate. So I think if I'm going to tie it all up, just to give you a quick summary to just provide some value. Obviously, we started off with habit setting and kind of getting organized and figuring out, okay, what do you want? What goal do you want? What are you trying to achieve? And then it's about then figuring out what that it is and then creating the consistency. So once you know that you want to lose weight, you create your habits of, okay, I need to wake up at this time. And then it's all good having the motivation to wake up at that time, but then you got to be consistent with it, because it'll come week 3, week 6, week 8. Now it's like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I want to have a lay-in today. Nope. You got to be consistent. You got to tell yourself, look, I set myself this goal by this time, so I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to obey those rules that I've set for myself and wake up at said time. So yeah, I think as we can see, he's kind of one of the living embodiments of being consistent and being disciplined, and kind of the positive payoffs for it. And then I guess, yeah, for you lot that don't have consistency in you,
Discipline
in you, I guess, yeah, man, that's life. This podcast ain't for you.
Keep it stepping. But yeah, nah. I mean, to add, like, don't give up if you don't, like, if you're not
let this be the motivation for you. Let us saying that you can't make it if you're not consistent or disciplined. Let this be the motive. Let this fire the belly inside of you.
Let it fire the belly.
Yeah. And then I want you lot to message us in a year's time to say, hey, look, I made it. I was disciplined.
So if you're out there thinking, oh, this is aimed at me, I don't have discipline. If you now go, use this as motivation, action it, you're now going every day, then I'm glad to inform you that you are in fact one of the people that have it in you.
It's crazy, right?
Nice and simple.
And then if them man that see this be like, oh, same at me, but I can't be bothered. Swipe. Then
you have your answer.
There we go. Anywho, yeah, man. Thank you so much, my boy. Appreciate it. Yeah, great show. Yeah, we're just talking about discipline, consistency, habit setting, and hopefully this is enough to kind of get you out of the sofa, get you out of bed, get you in the kitchen, get you in the gym, get you investing, saving, making money.
Yes, sir.
Any closing words for the people, or is that everything from you, mate?
No matter what type of person you are, show love to your family, man.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Show love to your people.
Yeah, man.
That's something everyone can do.
Yeah, man. Cool. So, yeah, man. I've been your boy Bongs.
Scotty Seawood.
Yeah, man. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.